This is a Region Sportsdesk exclusive.
I want to get away. I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to get away. I want to fly away.
On Region Sportsdesk, we're kind of winding down towards the end of the regular season, getting ready for the playoffs. Sectional draw is going to come up this Sunday. Especially sectional 1. Wow, that's going to be real interesting.
That's maybe one of the tough sectionals in the state. Let's talk about some games last week, JT. We went to the Valpo Merrillville game. What a hell of a game. We didn't expect that outcome at all. I believe Valpo's defense set the tone of the game. Valpo just dominated. Their front four, their front five on offense is just unbelievable. Both sides of the line is just unreal. By far the best I've seen all year. They're like, I believe, I would say there's a souped-up Crown Point team, basically. Their running back, both their running backs are faster than Bacon. Their line play is better than Crown Point's, but Crown Point's defense, I'd say it's maybe a push, though, on defense.
Well, you know what, they played a couple weeks ago. It was a 10-7 ball game, and if they play again in sectionals, who knows? That could be flipped the other way around.
Absolutely. If Crown Point's at home, I'd probably go with Crown Point.
But obviously, yeah, it was a really solid ball game. Valpo came ready to play. It was their third tough game in a row. Merrillville looked flat. They didn't really open it up like I thought they would. They kind of stuck to the ground game. They were kind of just depending on Denzel Pierce to make something happen. And they didn't really throw the ball down the field. I thought Merrillville would take some shots down the field. The only shot they took down the field was right before the half when they got Valpo turned it over on a fumble. Popovich threw it in the end zone, and his guy pretty much pushed off the Valpo defender and caught it.
Should have easily passed interference. But anyway, let's talk about Crown Point. They blew out LaPorte. Surprisingly, in LaPorte usually plays pretty tough down there.
I heard that Latchford got hurt in the game, and I guess their top receiver got hurt in the game. So they had some injuries, but still, an impressive performance for Crown Point.
This felt great. Getting the Cheesehead lock of the week right, with Munster beating Hobart. It was tied 7-7. Hobart's running back gets hurt, but still, Munster came through and gave us a nice victory in the Cheesehead.
Yeah,
all right, let's talk about some top 10s this week. Nothing really changes. Wheeler stays at 10, Munster 9, Portage 8, Morton 7, Chesterton number 6, and Drayton 5. The Bombers 4. Merrillville Pirates slipped down to 3.
Flip-flopped.
Crown Point goes to 2. And the Valpo Vikings are still number 1 and number 2 in the state.
Valpo gets something for that big win over Merrillville.
Yeah, they get the Megaphone of the week.
They dethroned the
All right,
Pirates.
Mark Hoffman, this guy right here is going to come bring it to you personally. He'll maybe drop it off in the AD office. Look for it in your mailbox. Let's go to this week's games. All right, JT, we got some. I could say it's a lackluster week again. There's a couple good games, but let's talk Bishop Noll at Wheeler. With Wheeler, it's always interesting to talk over or unders here on points. Wheeler, over or under 50 points this week?
I think they're going to get over 50 points. They had 59 points last week against.
And they took they took the foot off the gas pedal too. They could have put up more.
I guess they're up 42-0 after the first quarter. So pretty much however many points they want to score. But it's going to be a lopsided game regardless. So.
All right, EC at Bowman. Last year was a thriller.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a classic. I think it was like a 2-point game. I don't think it's going to be that way this year. I think East Chicago is going to dominate Bowman. Bowman just hasn't looked very good at all.
Yeah, I know. I think Stacey Adams he's not quite push a team into a contender yet, but they're still a struggling football team. But I like what Stacey Adams is doing down over in EC. Let's talk about another coach who I really like. That's Karras from South Central.
Jeff Karras?
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to Calumet, which Calumet started off really hot. They were smoking hot, but they kind of sizzled out. The flame's gone. South Central's going to go in and win that game.
Yeah, they should. They've had a lot of close games, and you know what? They've done pretty well in those close games, and this is going to be another kind of like 12-6 kind of game. But yeah, I think you're right. I think South Central goes in and gets it done.
All right, let's talk about Gavit at Hammond. Battle of Hammond schools. All right, Hammond High is going to conquer this game. They're going to win big.
They should.
All right, here's a battle of some crappy teams here. KV at Highland. But I honestly think Highland is going to win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Well, you know what? Highland is actually, they made it a game with Morton. They also made it a game last week with Griffith.
They kind of remind me a little bit of the Detroit Lions right now in the NFL.
Well,
Detroit Lions are winless, but yet they're hanging with the big boys.
well, they've proven they can be competitive in some games, but yeah, they're KV. They haven't been very competitive.
And I think that coach is over there in Highland, that new coach, he's starting to turn things around. This is his 2nd year over there, and he's starting to do some good things. They're not winning ball games, but yet, hey, they're staying close, and maybe next year they can start winning some. All right, Morton at the Brickyard.
This could be, a potential trap game. This is a game that I think could be close for a while. I think Hobart, they kind of have a lot of adrenaline going into that game. Obviously, they made it close with Munster for a while. Unfortunately, but I think the talent is going to show itself in the second half, and I think Morton's going to pull away in this one.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think Hobart's going to keep it close like they did with Munster, but this time, and just like last week, Morton is going to eventually pull away. All right, Lake Central at Merrillville. It's not good for Lake Central. Merrillville's pissed off. Pissed off is what they are.
Well,
they're going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win big.
They're going to take out their frustration on the Indians.
Big time.
Punch those Blue Indians in the mouth.
Very exciting game. Lake Station at North Newton. I like North Newton. They got a pretty good running back down there in North Newton. I like North Newton big in this game.
Big?
Big.
Like 40 points big?
30. Going 30 points. All right. This might be a decent game. Maybe. LaPorte's been struggling lately, and they're playing at Michigan City. Michigan City.
It doesn't matter where that game is, Joe. They could be playing it in our backyard. It still wouldn't matter. Slicers are still going to carve them up.
Slicers going to slice and dice their way through Michigan City. All right. Lou Wallace at Westside. Battle of Gary. Westside's the best Gary school. Westside big.
Absolutely.
All right.
Go Cougars.
Last year this game was a pretty good game. This time one of the teams just heading downhill faster than I thought they were. Munster traveling down to the Inferno.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be a good game, though. Lowell, they got back. Jordan Warriors came back. He's playing. This might be one of the better games of the week. Outside of the big three, this is probably going to be the next best game. They're playing at home, and I think they're a little bit better team with Juarez. Munster's been pretty good, but they've also kind of been inconsistent. Both these teams have been pretty inconsistent. Lowell's defense has been consistent. I already know who you're going to pick, and I'm going to pick against. I'm going to say Lowell's a very, very close game at home because it's at the Inferno.
Wow, again, you're freaking gay for the Lowell Red Devils. Yeah, Munster, they're just too tough defensively, and I believe their run game is honestly a little bit better. Lowell has one player. I don't care if Juarez is bad. They're back. They still have one player, and that's Midget. Juarez isn't a player. I mean, he's not a playmaker. He's a good defensive player, but he's not a playmaker.
And Joe, we also want to mention another game that's south of here in Rensselaer. The Bombers are going to host the number 2 ranked team in 1A, Sheridan. It appears as the Blackhawks are back as they have a 6-1 record, and they come off of a narrow win against Tipton. Unfortunately for Sheridan, I think it's just Rensselaer's year. So I fully expect them to be able to take care of business at home. In a lot of other years, Sheridan would be the team to beat. But I think in this game, Sheridan's still quite a young team, and I think Rensselaer just has a little bit too much firepower for them. So I expect the Bombers to take care of business at home.
All right, let's go to River Forest at Whiting. Whiting, unfortunately, is probably going to win this game. I like Ingots.
Why unfortunately?
Because I like the Ingots.
Why are you against the Oilers?
Because I like the Ingots, man. I like the underdog, and Ingots, they're just... Where are they?
You want to? Yeah, and they let you down last week too against Noll, didn't they?
They absolutely.
They had the lead. You thought they were going to take it.
I was like on the radio. I was like, yeah. What did I tell you? Ingots, baby.
And then Bishop Noll, boom, kicks the game-winning field goal, and they win. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about St. Francis de La Salle.
We've been talking about that team a lot. St. Francis, they like going around Gary, playing these Gary teams.
Hey, they're playing some cupcakes. Again, they're playing a cupcake at Roosevelt.
They're trying to build their record, I think.
St. Francis is going to win this game big. All right,
De
Clark.
La Salle's all the way.
Clark traveling all the way down to Indianapolis. That's a far bus ride.
Yeah, remember the Arlington team came up here last year, and Clark pulled it out.
Clark beat them.
Clark was pretty good. Clark's kind of been turning things around too. They've been playing pretty well. unfortunately.
Better than week 1 than what we saw him.
Yeah, I guess we picked the wrong week to watch them, but yeah, I think Arlington's going to take it. That's a far trip for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the bus ride's going to kill these kids. It's a far drive. I mean, you get down there. I'm not going to play football. I'm tired. Let's get off a long bus ride. Indianapolis to take this game. Now let's go to week 3 thrillers here, JT. What do you say?
I say okay.
All right, let's talk about the Andrean 59ers, number 5 on our poll, at the Boneyard. Now, JT, there's a lot at stake in this game.
Yes, there is. Do you know what's at stake?
An NCC title is at stake in this game.
And to think that 3A Andrean might have a chance to, they could win. They could take sole possession of this NCC title. Griffith's going to have something to say about this. Griffith is obviously, they're a depleted team, but they're one of the toughest teams, and they show a lot of fight. This is going to be a good football game, as it usually is when these two teams play.
Absolutely, and Griffith, they're a very tough team to play at the Boneyard.
Yeah,
there's something about that atmosphere there.
There's no question about it. They've shown a lot of toughness in most of the games they played this year. But I do think Andrean, is just a little bit tougher. Their numbers they have better numbers, and they've been a little bit more impressive than Griffith has, especially against the bad teams. They've taken care of business. I think Andrean goes in there and they win a close ball game.
I gotta agree with you. I like Andrean by 3 points. I think it's gonna be that close.
You're a crazy guy.
All right, let's go to the next game. Number 6 Chesterton at number 2 Crown Point, down the dog pound and playing the Trojans. All right, what do you see in this game?
Well, you know what? I see a lot of red. I think what's happened with Chesterton, look what they gave up to Jake Dixon. Look what they gave up to Valpo. Against the better run teams, Chesterton has not fared so well. I don't think it changes here. I think Crown Point, it's their homecoming. They're going to run the ball down their throats. I think Crown Point's probably going to win this by a couple scores. I'm looking at like a 28-14 kind of game. I just don't think Chesterton's going to be able to stop that run game.
Absolutely, I would agree with you. I like watching Crown Point. They're one of my favorite teams to watch this year. I like their offense. I love their defense. They're a great team to watch.
Cheesehead.
Oh, the Cheesehead.
You forgot about the Cheesehead.
Cheesehead.
We're going against the cheese this
Going
time.
against the cheese. We're going give it to the dogs. All right, let's go to the big one here. The biggest rivalry in the DAC, I believe. It was the hugest game in the 1990s. But it's lost some some luster now. One team's usually pretty good, the other team's down now. And it's not like it was. Both teams were top of the DAC.
Right.
And Portage, they're supposed to be good. Valpo's not supposed to be good, but now it's flip-flopped. All right, number 8 Portage at Valpo. Valpo's homecoming. Portage is coming off a 2-game win streak where they looked very, very impressive. An upset win over Chesterton and a blowout against Michigan City. Jake Dixon, 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think Portage's chances are going to rest on his shoulders because it seems like, the first few weeks of the season, it seemed like Portage was like showing off a different offense every single week. But now it seems like they're pretty much going to set in with this. It's basically going to be Dixon or nothing. They're going to go as far as he can take them, and it's a bad matchup for them because what Portage wants to do, they're going against the strength of Valpo's team, which is their defense, their run defense. So it's going to come down to if Dixon can find a crease, find a run lane, the advantage Portage has in the game. Jake Dixon is the best athlete on the field. He's by far the best athlete on either squad.
He's the best athlete, I think, in this area.
I think athletically, Portage has the advantage, but it's just a question of if Dixon's going to have anywhere to run. I think Valpo's going to win, but I think Portage can give him a game. I think it's going to be a close game. Valpo, the last 3 weeks, they've gone through a gauntlet of teams, tough games, and I don't see this one being any different.
One kid said, Valpo, they're like 11 robots on the field. Every kid does their job to a T. That team is unbelievable to watch. I was impressed when I watched them last week. This team could be one of the teams that make a run to state. The only thing that I think they lack is top-end speed. They don't have one of those athletes that can go out there and just change a game. They're a ground-and-pound team that's going to wear a team out slowly. Portage, if they can get some kids in open field, they can get Coleman in the open field, who had 5 or 8 catches, something like that last week against Michigan City. He looked pretty good, and of course Dixon looked good. If those kids can get in the open, it's going to be scary for Valpo because they're not going to be able to stop either of those kids. They're too quick, too fast for that Valpo defense. But, like I said, those kids, they do their job. That's all you can ask for. Valpo's going to win this one. I think it's going to be by 2 touchdowns. maybe more. All right, there's our picks.